Self-esteem is one of the most important determinants for happiness for both men and women. Self-esteem is essentially the lens through which we filter information coming in from the outside world. For example, let's say that I told you there's someone who is very lazy, who doesn't do their job well, who doesn't get along well with people, who tries to avoid work, and then I said, that person lost their job. Well, you would think, well, of course they lost their job. They probably had it coming for a long time. They probably were not doing their job correctly, and it was inevitable that they would lose their job. On the other hand, let's just say that there was someone who was a hard worker, honest, set goals and met them, got along well with people, and let's say that person lost their job. You'd probably think, oh, well, it's probably the economy. Too bad the company lost their best employee. They'll probably find another job soon. But the only concrete information that you got was that the person lost their job. Everything else was the perception of information that was filtered in through this lens that you were presented with. We do this to ourselves every single day. With all of the thousands of bits of information that come in from the outside world, we filter all of that information through our own self-esteem. And depending on whether we have high or low self-esteem, that information is going to be perceived very differently. You can imagine how someone with low self-esteem would have a lot more anxiety, a lot more depression. They would be much more prone to personality disorders. They would essentially have fewer of all of the elements that make up success and happiness. There are two primary aspects to low self-esteem. The first is if someone rates other people's opinions over their own values. For example, let's just say that I think that lying is wrong. However, I could lie in order to win someone's approval. If I choose to lie in order to get someone's approval, then that lowers my own self-esteem. Also, I am always going to be at the mercy of someone else's approval. I have to constantly chase other people's approval in order to have any kind of sense of self-esteem. And I might even have kind of a temporary false sense of self-esteem when other people approve of me. But A, it's going to be a very fragile self-esteem. And B, it's going to be something that's very temporary, so I'm going to have to constantly chase it. And my sense of self is always going to be dependent on whether or not someone else wants to give me that esteem. On the other hand, if I have high self-esteem, then I will uphold my own values, even as more important than other people's opinion or approval. If I choose not to lie, if I feel that lying is wrong, even though it might get someone else's approval, then I'm upholding my own values, and that will increase my self-esteem. The other primary aspect of self-esteem is that I will hold up my own values even when it's inconvenient to do so. So if anyone can hold up their own values when it's convenient to do so, when it's easy, but real self-esteem comes from even when it would be easy or seemingly beneficial to violate your own values. If instead you choose to hold up your own values, then that also adds to your self-esteem. It adds to that strength of character. It gives you freedom from other people's opinions and freedom to make good decisions. Hypnosis can help you change your perception so that you see yourself as a valuable person, someone with strong values. It can change it so that you perceive your own values as being strong enough to withstand the world so that you no longer have to be dependent on other people's approval.